Now we are going to talk about dangers of electricity and how to deal with it. First of all, we must know the uses of electricity, which are lighting houses, factories, and etc., cooking, operating machines, and many other uses. Before we talk about dangers of electricity, we must know the different types of materials, which are the electric conductors and the electric insulators. We also can call them good conductor of electricity, bad conductors of electricity. First, we're going to talk about the electric conductors. They are the materials that allow the electric current to pass through. For example, water and all metals. When an electric conductor is connected to the electric circuit, they make it closed circuit. A closed circuit means that the electric current can pass through. On the other hand, we're going to talk about the electric insulators. Electric insulators are the materials that don't allow the electric current to pass through. For example, wood and plastic. When electric insulators are connected to the electric circuit, they form an opened circuit. An open circuit means that the electric current cannot pass through the circuit. Now we are going to talk about dangers of electricity. We all know that electricity is very useful and we can use it in many things. But there are dangers resulted from the improper use of electricity. They are indirect injuries and direct injuries, and now we are going to know the difference between them. The main difference between them is the electric shock. If the electric shock is the direct cause of the injury, we call it a direct injury. But when the electric shock causes the injury but indirect way, we call it indirect injury. For example, the indirect injury results from falling from the top of a ladder due to an electric shock. I mean that if we are fixing a lamp standing on a ladder and we suddenly have an electric shock that causes our falling from the top of the ladder and, for example, broken our leg. So the broken leg is due to the falling from the top of a ladder, not from the electric shock itself. So this is the indirect injury. Now we are going to discuss the direct injuries caused by electricity, by the improper use of electricity. There are three types of direct injuries, which are electric fires, electric shock, electric burn, and we are going to discuss them in the next page. But first, we must know the main reason for each one. Electric fires are due to the increase in the temperature. The electric shock is due to the passing of electric current through the human body. The electric burn is due to the damage of the body tissues. Now we are going to discuss the direct injuries, the three types of direct injuries, which are the electric fires, electric shock, and electric burns. First, the electric fires. We here have three examples for the causes of the electric fires, which are number one, putting a machine that generates heat beside a flammable material. For example, leaving the iron that we use to iron our clothes beside the curtains. This may cause electric fires, of course. This is very dangerous. 2. Putting more than one machine in one socket. This means that I make an electric overload on the socket. For example, if I put my charger, the television, the iron, and many other appliances in one socket, this causes something called electric overload, and this causes the increase in the temperature that causes electric fires too. 3. Leaving a machine that generates heat connected to electricity for very long time after use. For example, if I finished ironing my clothes and I forgot to take off electricity. So this is very, very important to know that the three examples here are due to the increase in the temperature. So the increase in the temperature causes electric fires. Let's now talk about the electric shock. Briefly, electric shock occurs due to touching electricity, and it occurs by three different types or three different ways. One, if a part of the body touches electricity while the other part touches the ground, as we can see in the picture. We are standing on the ground and touching electricity. This causes electric shock. The second way is by touching a part of my body to electricity while the other part touching a conducting material that touched the ground. For example, I'm here standing on a metallic chair and I touch electricity with my hands. Metallic chair, of course, is a good conductor of electricity. The third way is if I touch two wires having electricity in them. The three ways make electric shock, and they occur due to touching electricity. The third type of injuries, of direct injuries, is the electric burn. The electric burn happens due to touching the electricity directly. Some types of electric shock is very, very, very dangerous that causes the electric burns. The second thing, if I touch fires result from the electricity, for example, the electric fires that we talked about before. If I touch the fire, I will have an electric burn because it is caused by electricity. Third, if I touch a machine that generates heat, for example, if I touch the iron, I may have an electric burn, and this is very, very dangerous too. They are the three direct injuries. Now we are going to discuss some give reasons questions about electricity. One, give reason for water is not used to put off electric fires. Because water is a good conductor of electricity and it may cause the increase in the fire. So we can use sand instead. This is very important. Two, give reason for human body is a good conductor of electricity. Of course, because 70% of our body is water, and water is a good conductor of electricity. Three, plugging more than one machine in one socket causes fire. This is due to the increase in the temperature, as we said before. Okay, now we are going to talk about harms of the electric shock. Harms of electric shock depends on two very important factors. The harm depends on the strength of electricity. How is the electricity strong or weak? This will cause the harm to be a little harm or very dangerous harm. Two, the time taken by the electricity to pass through the body. If I just touch electricity for 1 second, the harm will be less than if I touch the electricity for 1 minute, for example. So they are the two factors that the harms of the electric shock depends on. The last thing we want to know, and this is very, very important, are the precautions in dealing with electricity. One, don't insert metallic objects in sockets, electric sockets, I mean. Two, don't touch electric machines with wet hands. Never touch electricity with wet hands. Three, don't play with electric connections. Four, don't place wires on ground, so not trip on them. Five, Don't leave electric machine working while taking a bath. As we say that water is a good conductor of electricity and is very important. 6, don't leave wires naked. Naked means without a cover. 7, place plastic pieces in sockets. And this will help to protect little kids because they can put their hands in sockets.